Hey, good morning, everybody. It's 8:33 on this Wednesday. Let me turn the fan off there. And you can see the title down below. I will try to provide a link to the information. But when you click on those links, ladies and gentlemen, you will not be seeing, you will not be, seeing false information. Instead, you will be seeing legit information. And what I mean by that, folks, is the fact and that was my cats, and that was me and my mom's cat sniffing the mic there. But mainly, the information you're going to be looking at is information that a lot of fans, ever since this entire situation started, have been waiting, for, in a sense, to occur. Because they feel it might be the leverage that is needed to put this case to rest. Now, what does that mean? Well, basically what it means is the judge in charge of this entire case, the judge that's overseeing this case, basically has ordered that Sega be present now, that Sega basically get involved. Now, according to one side, which is the KP side, Sega never really wanted to initially get involved. According to the KP side of things, Sega didn't want to initially get involved. They wanted Archie to basically handle it themselves, kind of let them know obviously what was going on. And according to the KP side, the settlement that both Penders and Archie came up with before, the reason it didn't go through wasn't the fault of either Archie or Penders. It's the fact that Sega didn't like the settlement deal. Yeah. So Sega didn't initially like the original settlement deal. Now you might ask yourself, well, why didn't they like the deal? What was wrong? Well, we'll probably never really know that unless they make it public. So, again, we won't really know what the original settlement was going to be like and what obviously turned Sega off to it. But it seems that now Sega is going to have no choice but to get involved. Now, again, like I said, a lot of fans actually look at this as a positive thing because this might make Ken Penders have to basically give up what he's doing and say, okay, you guys win, you have the rights to the characters now, blah, blah, blah. But again, according to the KP side, if you will, they've been wanting to get Sega involved. And it was Sega, like I said, that did not want to be involved. But obviously, they didn't like the original settlement deal. And now, they basically, as one person jokingly said at one of the message boards, Sega is basically being dragged, kicking and screaming, into this procedure. Basically, it's like, you have no choice. We're taking you right now. Or it's like back in the days when the draft was around, when the military draft was around, and you were drafted, you had no choice but to go if you were eligible for the draft. Also, it's kind of like with jury duty. All right? Basically, with jury duty, if you were selected to go to jury duty, you'd have no choice but to go. Because if you didn't, you'd pay a price. And that's basically what it's like with Sega. Sega is basically being dragged into something they never wanted no part of. They wanted Archie to take care of it themselves. Now, again, a lot of fans look at this as a positive because if Sega can basically argue the fact that, hey, what this guy is doing is trying to make money off basically recolorings and character designs that are basically blatant rip-offs of our Knuckles character, then they will basically say, and by the way, since we're the ones that have licensed out the rights to do a comic book to Archie Comics, then we solely have gained the rights to any characters, original or not, that were put into the comics. I mean, basically, that's what they have. That's sort of what the leverage they have. It's like, hey, since the comic is basically, since we're the ones that lent the license out to Archie to do a comic book adaptation of Sonic and any Sonic-related material, then any stories or characters created in that comic and exclusively for that comic became not just property of Archie Comics, but became property of Sega. So that's something that a lot of fans are hoping occurs. Now, on the other hand, though, there are fans that are kind of doubtful about this because they feel that if Sega is now involved, this may hurt the comic more than it's going to help it. And the only question is, how will it hurt it? Well, initially, the way it may hurt it is it's going to cause basically a rift, some kind of a rift. I don't know if it's going to be a strong rift, a huge rift, or a small rift, or whatever. It's going to cause some kind of rift, if not distrust, according to some fans, between Archie and Sega. Because as one fan jokingly put it, I think at Sonic Stadium, they said they kind of did a little playing here. They did like a little role play, and they basically have Sega telling Archie after Archie tells them we're sorry. They have Sega saying, "You bring great shame upon us." Basically indicating that Sega could feel like, hey, we thought we could trust you guys to get the job done on your own, yet we have been forced into this because of you guys. So now you guys are going to pay a price. And no one would really know what that price would be, what the punishment or what it could be. It could mean perhaps they'd be in the final years of the license with the comic and Sega might sought somebody else out. Who knows? But again, the positive side of this that many fans are trying to hope and pray for is that Sega will basically have a legit reasoning and backing as to why Ken Penders' claims are flawed, and that basically he's got no choice but to drop this thing because it's not going to work. Now, again, what's surprising about this is the settlement, and I'll provide the links down below. The settlement was something that Sega did not like. They did not like the terms of it, so that's why it didn't go through. I mean, if they were okay with it, then this thing would have been settled and done with. But because they didn't like the terms of the deal, that settlement basically went to the wayside, and now a new settlement might have to take place with Sega there to witness it. And my only thing is, again, I think the settlement's going to deal with a few things that some fans may like and some fans may not like. Like one, I think basically Ken Penders is going to want, of course, compensation for what he's done and for every character and story being used and referenced. But also I think he's going to want his continuity acknowledged, if not used, in the comic as the main continuity. That basically it doesn't matter if, what happens after the crossover. It doesn't matter what happens after, after at all costs and all that. That basically sometime down the line, all the issues and stories have some kind of reference and connection to the continuity he helped create. This even includes, as much as people may not like it, Mobius years later. That's what I'm thinking he could want out of it. Compensation and his continuity to become a true part of the comics continuity. And again, that includes Mobius years later. Now, again, the flip side of that is, though, people are worried that that this is going to cause a rift between Sega and Archie. That Sega is going to look at Archie as not being able to take care of things themselves, not be able to trust them to take care of things by themselves, and maybe even more so, probably either ask for a reboot or sought out or seek out a new comic book publisher to publish the book. Let's face it. Let's face it. Franchises have been known to go from one comic book publisher to the other, or to another. Take a look at Mega Man. Mega Man, before Archie Comics took him, he had been published by various comic book publishers before Archie got a hold of him. So it wouldn't be a surprise it'd be disappointing, but it wouldn't be a surprise if that, on a negative side of things, if that's one of the things Sega would want to do. But again, we just have to wait and see what happens. Because, Sega basically, the hand is being forced into this. They didn't want no part of it. But the way I look at it, and I do agree with a lot of people, Sega should have been part of this a long time ago. That's right. Sega should have been part of this a long time ago, because it does involve the comic that they have lent the licensing to. It does involve characters that are basically redesigns, if not recolorings, and gender swappings of their main Echidna character. And basically, they should have been at the forefront from the beginning. And now they have basically no choice but to be at the forefront, whether they like it or not. And again, this is either going to be a positive thing, and I believe it will be a positive deal, or it's going to be a negative one. But let me know what you guys think down below. I will provide a link to the video, to the topic that I'm talking about at TSSZ. Let me know what you guys think about it. Give me your comments below. But yeah, Sega has basically been dragged into this whole situation. So let me know what you guys think below. And that's all I'm going to say. And I'll talk to y'all later.